Woj knew my trade before I knew my trade.
Yeah, I want to win championships. I want to, take a franchise to the next level.
I can draw the lane, I can shoot the three. I can run 100 yards, I can throw it.
Chiney with the bucket.
He's an all-defensive player, and he deserves that credit.
I'm a champion, I need some trophies.
Trae Young is the maestro.
I'm going to start with a question for you first, Trae. Give me a sense. We saw you play horse on ESPN. You got kind of caught in that wind tunnel in your driveway. But give everyone a sense of how you've been handling this NBA shutdown, the quarantine. How have you been able to try to keep yourself as active and in shape and as sharp as you can, knowing that there's a chance here the league may be back as soon as next month?
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, this is a crazy time for all of us. It's new to all of us. And so for me, I'm just trying to take the proper precautions of, everything going on. Trying to stay active, order some bikes as soon as quarantine started. Trying to go to the track early in the morning or late at night at a couple of high schools here in Oklahoma. But whatever I'm trying to do, just trying to be as safe as possible. That's the most important thing right now. We all miss sports and miss playing, but at the same time.
Today, I see you on Instagram bouncing around. It doesn't seem to have slowed you down a great deal. Is that an accurate assessment of life in the Ogwumike house?
Honestly, I guess because I have 2 official jobs, that this has been really good because I've been able to just breathe and recover. But you're right. Like, I find ways to still keep busy, whether that's, working out, or I'm not as good as Trae on TikTok. His TikTok game is pretty elite. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
He's been killing the TikTok game. But yeah, like I'm here quarantined in Houston in one of our homes with my youngest little sister. So like as an athlete, just finding creative ways for, like, I just ordered my bike. I was like, oh, this is not gonna last forever. And I was like, okay, let me just order the bike right now. So just finding creative ways to work out. And the cool thing about all of this is that, we're sort of going back to the basics. Like, usually you feel like you need a hoop, you need a court, you need someone there grinding with you. Well, this has been good for me to just like, all right, let me go back to square one, focus on my stretching and on my, just the basic motions that hopefully I can, so that when I get back to hooping, it'll be like I'm a better athlete for this break.
What are the most effective things for you in your workout routines? What are the things that you guys are doing now and that you're finding are finding working, maybe especially during the quarantine?
I'll jump in here. So normally, I don't know if Trae agrees, but like as basketball players, we can sort of get away with just hooping. Like normally just go hoop. You don't have to do too much other. Like we're not football where we have to like do heavy weightlifting and all that. And we're only running on the court. We don't like to run off the court just for health. Like me personally, this is probably embarrassing. I probably can only do 3 push-ups at a time, right? And so little thing, he's laughing at me. It's the truth. Okay, Trae, we might be the same height, or I might have an inch or 2 on you. So like my arms are super long. Okay,
no,
so
it's probably harder because you're taller than me.
Yeah, okay. And you probably can crank out them push-ups and crank out them chin-ups. Okay, your girl here, my legs are like 80% of my body. So my ratio is off when I do my stuff. So I guess to answer your question, Woj, is that when I work out, like this is giving me an opportunity. All right, like let me see if I can really do a push-up. Let me see if I can really like do those crunches and those basic activities. And I'm realizing I can. I just never had time to really commit myself to the long process of getting good at that, because I could get away with using fancy machines and all that equipment we have, like with the Kaiser and all that stuff. I guess it's been good for me because now, like, I'm like, oh, all right, I don't have to be on my knees to do a push-up. I can crank out 3, take a break, crank out 3 more. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's been the nice little surprise in quarantine times.
No, I definitely agree with you. I agree with Shanae and what she said. Like, for us, like if we're having a bad day or something's going on at the house, like for us, a scapegoat for us is we can just go in the gym and get a workout in and just go to the court, get shots up, work on our game, things like that, and it's like a safe haven for us. So it's like during this time when you can't necessarily go to a gym, things like that. Like I'm in the same boat. I don't necessarily like going on, a mile run or 2 mile run, like just for fun or just to stay in shape like that. But this is something that I've had to learn to get accustomed to, and it's been very helpful.
Trae, I got a question from Olivia who wants to know, are you watching The Last Dance? And if so, what do you think about it?
Oh, of course I'm watching The Last Dance. It's a crazy series. For me, growing up, I didn't necessarily get to watch Jordan live. I think I was born around the time that he retired, but so like seeing how MJ was in the locker rooms, how he won his championships, how he took a break from the game and came back and won three more. Like for me, seeing that is has been really inspiring, and just motivates me. I want to win championships. I want to, take a franchise to the next level. And for me, just seeing the things that he did, the sacrifices he made to do it, it's something that's been really inspiring and motivating for me.
I was gonna say, to piggyback off of that, Woj, if that's cool. I think the coolest part to me is like, as much as we see the basketball, it's cool when you have like a team and you just accept people for who they are. So like for me, I've been on a lot of different teams, whether it was when I was in middle school or in high school, at Stanford and college, and now I've been on 2 professional teams. You're going to meet people and different types of people. And sometimes it's hard because someone might be better than you, or someone you may be better than, or someone may not be so nice, right? Like, and just knowing that even at the highest levels, these things do exist, but, having the common goal of winning is what matters most, and like sacrificing for your team. So I think for all those kids out there that like might be on teams and not know where they fit in, I think what Michael Jordan has showed us is that it's just the work and the effort that matters, and accepting everyone where they are just so that you can be the best team possible. Because Dennis Rodman, yeah, that was unique. Scottie Pippen, he was different, right? Even Horace Grant, he switched teams at one point. You know what I mean? So just understand. Steve Kerr, we all saw what happened. Understanding, things happen, and it's not easy to be. At times, it's not easy to understand everyone. But if you have that one understanding that you're playing with a purpose, you're playing to be as good as you can be, you'll be better for the overall experience.
I want to ask you one more thing about that, Chineys. And you mentioned fitting in and being a part of a team and people being different. I think when people see you, Chineys, they just think, hey, there's a woman who just has had it together, All-American at Stanford, high draft pick in the WNBA, TV star while she's playing at the highest level of professional basketball. And especially for, I think, some of our young people out there who are in the 6th grade, the 7th grade, the 8th grade. What was life like for you then? Did everything just come naturally for you? Were you a star? You just kind of bounced off all the Ogwumike sisters? You're just a natural star, right? It just happened.
Look, I'm just like starting to realize that people think I'm kind of cool now, right? Like I'm 28 years old. When I was young, I'm telling you, here's the class photo, and I would be right here. You know what I mean? Like I was always the tall, gangly girl. And I sort of felt like, my family is from Nigeria. So we had a very close-knit family growing up. We didn't really have too many friends because I have 3 sisters. Why do you need too many friends when you got all your friends in one house that you can do everything with? So it wasn't so easy for me personally growing up. That's why I'm very grateful for basketball, because basketball sort of made everything fit together. Like the things that I thought were weaknesses, me being tall and people thought that made me weird, those actually turned into my strengths later on. And I didn't understand that until maybe I got to Stanford, and then maybe I became a professional, also, on and off the court. But to think that someone like me has it all together, that is so untrue, just because, in life, you just sort of have to make decisions. Sometimes it's going to be so easy to go out there and hang out with your friends. The harder decision is going to the gym and practicing or staying up and doing your homework. Trae's made some sacrifices, and look at how far it's gotten him. You know what I mean? So, like, we all just have to have, the belief that what you're doing, what you're passionate about, if you pursue it and you keep working at it, you could make a living out of it. I didn't think that basketball was going to change my life. I just went at it and attacked it. And I was lucky to have sisters, one that's way, way cooler than me, really blazed the trail, right? So, yeah, my life I'm just now getting my life together, but then don't tell that to my mom, because my mom's going to be like, Chineys, what's your husband? Like all that type of stuff.
No, it's great perspective, Chineys. Hey, Trae, I think you're a great example for young people that, players come in all shapes, sizes, and people sometimes want to say, you can't be this because you look like that. And I think people said, he's a little too small to be, a guard that we could build a team around. He's not going to be able to, get by guys. He's physically not strong enough. How much in your life when you would hear that, would you get down on yourself ever? Would it always fuel you? How do you handle that when you're a young person? And it may not just be basketball. It could be any other endeavor that you're pursuing. When people say to you, yeah, that's probably not going to work out for you. I don't think you could be as good as maybe you think you can.
Yeah, for sure. Great question. For me, I've always used negativity, things people said about me as fuel. I never, if I have my mind set on something and I have my goal set on something, I want to achieve it and I want to accomplish it, I'm going to go out and do it, or I'm going to go out and put everything I can into it to try to accomplish it. And so for me, I heard all these things, you're too small. I've heard I was too small, to be honest with you, Will, since I was coming into high school. I was a middle schooler. I wanted to be a freshman. A freshman starting on varsity. People said I was too small to do that, and I started on varsity as a freshman. Same thing in college, going into the NBA now, it's the same thing. So for me, I just use it as fuel. I try to turn, this negative energy into a positive, and hopefully someday those people that said all these negative things about me are ultimately a fan of mine and think differently.
Hey, here's a question from CC Miller. She's at the Boys and Girls Club in Austin County in Belleville, Texas. She wants to know, how would you motivate a kid who wants to give up on an athletic dream? Good question.
Ooh, Chineys, Texas, you got it.
Oh,
That's a really good question.
Yeah, okay, you're right. I will claim all of the Texas energy, even though we're neighbors. Oklahoma ain't that far. Okay.
We're friends. We can be cool.
The way I would motivate a kid that might want to quit on sports is letting them know that, especially if it's a girl, this is happening a lot, just because I think society is making us lose focus on what is really good within sports. As young kids, Trae and I don't know, you're younger than me. I don't know how much younger than me you are. But, we didn't grow up with too much technology. Meaning, if we're going to go to the gym, we're going with our parents, we're going with our coaches, and we're playing the game and learning from that. Now, young kids have so much to look at, like Instagram, YouTube, and we start comparing ourselves to that, not knowing that to get to the point where you're at Trae's level or lucky to play in the WNBA, there's a lot of failure and struggle and process and all of that. So I just would remind them that just because you're struggling or you had a bad game, or even if you had a bad season, if you still have love for it, you should just keep pushing.
For me, I think, she hit the nail on the head, and just wanted to remind people, nobody at our level or who has been super successful in anything they do, it's been an easy ride. It's always going to be ups and downs. It's going to be days that it's tough for you, and it's not going to be perfect. So whether it's Chineys, me, LeBron, Michael Jordan. Like it was never an easy ride. Everybody has to go through something, and everybody has to go through stuff to get to where they want to go.
Trae, I got a question from Johnny Gain, and I was there and I remember this. Trae, how did you deal with the adversity after the way you performed in the summer league before your rookie year? Johnny is from the Boys and Girls Clubs in Atlanta. He is a big Trae Young fan because that's digging down in some details. Remembering that those first few games, the first couple games anyway, in Vegas, where like you didn't come out of the gates just blasting everybody.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, speaking on what I just kind of said, how we all have our ups and downs, that was definitely a down moment for me, a down part in my basketball career. It just felt like, I mean, the whole world is on my shoulders. First summer league game, I think my first two shots, for sure my first shot was an air ball. I don't know if it was my first two shots, but it felt like it just kept replaying and re-showing on everything. And for me, it just felt like the whole world is just on my shoulders. And it was just a moment that I had to really sit back, I mean, just relax, calm down, take a deep breath, and I just really lean on the people that have been there for me since the beginning, whether it was my family or the close people that I had around me. They really helped me get through that moment, and it was tough for me, but ultimately I got through it. People had a lot to say about it, and for me, like I said, I used that as fuel, and it's gotten me to this point, and I'm going to keep growing, and I'm going to always remember what was said.
Just knowing that, like Trae said, having those people that have helped you and like when you're struggling have your back, that's so important. That's always been my sisters for me. And now, like, by having that little girl gang, we've been able to push each other to achieve goals. Just Big Sis is still, like, I know I'm here, but Big Sis, like, MVP, champion, I'm still trying to get like her, which is why I literally got on her team, which Woj reported via the trade. That whole day was hilarious, but yeah, I know. I'm so glad to be a part of history. I mean, that's when our friendship was really locked in. Like, okay, y'all, this is a fun fact. Woj knew my trade before I knew my trade, and this is the WNBA. And I was like, wait, Woj, how do you know this is happening? How did you get this? Like, what? That's how good he is.
You know what, Trae's interesting to me? Like, I think some of the biggest fans of the WNBA are NBA players. Why do you think NBA players have so much respect for the women and the WNBA game? Because you guys know good basketball, and it always feels like you guys flock to those games when you get an opportunity to see Chiney and her teammates and her opponents go at it.
Yeah, no, I've been to a lot of WNBA games. Blessed to have one in Atlanta with the Atlanta Dream, pulling for them to win a championship every year. Sorry, Chiney.
Nah, man.
I'm playing, but it's I think for us it's just a mutual respect thing. Like we understand how hard they work. We understand how much time they put in and the effort that they put into their craft, and we just see that maybe sometimes they don't get enough recognition or the credit that they truly deserve. And for us as NBA players, we know we have that type of platform that if we attend those games, if we go out and support these women that, put in the same type of effort, same type of work that we do, the game will grow. And for us, that's all we try to do is, show the respect and show, how much we truly, and we just truly love watching basketball and good basketball and going to WNBA games. They can play. And so that's how I think about it, and I think that's why a lot of NBA players go and support the WNBA players, and it's just a good way to kind of connect with them too.
Evan wants to know which basketball moves are most effective for getting past your defenders.
Ooh, I know he's going to say the nutmeg, but I'll jump in here real quick. For me, since I'm tall and I'm a post, my strength is my quickness. So I like just something like a quick sweep move. And like, if you're not the tallest one out there, I love reverse layups because I had to go up against my sister, Candace Parker, Brittany Griner, Sylvia Fowles, like super tall women. So like the reverse layup, sweep to the reverse, they can't block you through the rim. So like that's my go-to move. And I guess a real move is probably like a jab before you do it. So like you can jab, get them biting, and then do your move. Or you can jab if they know you want that to be your move, then they bite, and then you can shoot. So it's pretty versatile for bigs.
Yeah, for sure. For me, everybody knows my favorite move is nutmeg. I think it's cool. I love the sham guard. It's where you throw it out with one hand and pull it back with the other. Those are my two favorite moves. The nutmeg is kind of tough. You have to do kind of in transition. You got to kind of see who's behind your defender. So you kind of got to look past yours and see if there's enough space that you can throw the ball and go get it on the other side. So it's something that I've done since I was in high school. Something that, to be honest, I do a lot in pickups and pro-rams, things like that. So when I practice in those, I can come to the NBA game, and now I'm starting to do it a lot more in the NBA games because I'm more comfortable. And so it's something that's kind of gotten me to this point. It's a cool move, and everybody talking about it, so it's cool.
Wait. I got a follow-up question. How do you feel after, was it Trevor Ariza got so mad because you were so good at that move? How do you feel? Because I know you went on Twitter, you're like, it's all love, like it's all good. You respected your elder.
Yeah, no, for sure. When I did it to Trevor Ariza and I threw between his legs, and he kind of shoved me and it went out. It was a big thing. I tell people all the time, I would have done the same thing. Like if someone tried to throw between my legs, I would stop their momentum. I would probably grab them and hug them or whatever and stop their momentum so they couldn't, get the move off. So, I felt where he was coming from, but at the same time, that's not going to stop me from doing it too much. Yeah, that's not going to stop me from doing it.
We cannot have a Q&A with Trae Young, certainly, without a question about shooting. Glenn is from the Metro Atlanta Boys and Girls Club, and he adds he's a huge Trae Young fan. He wants to know, what tips do you have to be a better shooter? And actually, a two-part question. I'll throw in the second part. And if not the Hawks, what team would you most like to play for? We'll give you the easy question first, shooting, and then you can answer your free agency question for 7 years from now, whenever that's going to be.
Yeah, for sure. So for me,
I see
always as a kid,
Omar Wilkes, your agent Omar Wilkes has joined us, so maybe he could speak to some of that too, Trae.
Yeah. For me, always as a kid, I always started, and like you said at the beginning, I used to go to Thunder games early, watch guys like KD, Steve Nash, Steph, like really work out, like pregame, an hour and a half before the game started. And one thing I always notice is that first thing they do when they come out is start close and get their touch and get their rhythm going. I think when you're a kid, when you get the ball for the first time, you get in the gym, first thing people want to do is shoot threes. They just want to come, grab a ball, start shooting threes, start shooting half-court shots, and it just messes up your mechanics. You don't really have the right mechanics to be shooting that way at a young age. I didn't either. So for me, I really focused on my mechanics, starting out close, getting the touch, rhythm good, and then as I got older and got stronger, my range started moving further back, but I also had the right mechanics, and so my touch is always there. I have the right form, the right balance to really extend my range, and that's why as I got stronger, I'm shooting further and further out, and that's really helped me. And with that second part question, haven't really thought about that. For me, I'm trying my best to build the city of Atlanta and our team to a championship level team, and haven't really thought about it, but you never know. So I'm trying to win championships in Atlanta right now.
Well, it's you mentioned how you walk in the gym, the form shooting, and a player that I know, I think both Chineys and Trae really admire, Ray Allen. I covered Ray Allen when he was at the University of Connecticut. He was an 18-year-old freshman, 19-year-old sophomore. And I would see Ray when it would be after practice, and I would finish writing my story in the press room, and I would be walking to leave the building, and the gym would be empty, and Ray would come back, leave practice, eat dinner, come back. And I'd see Ray in the gym at 18 years old, empty arena, form shooting from 4 feet out and 5 feet out and progressively moving back. And I think to 20 years later, Ray's 38 years old, and I'm covering the NBA, and I get to a playoff game hours before the game, 3:30 in the afternoon, and who's in an empty arena doing the same thing I saw him doing when he was 18 years old? Ray Allen, form shooting. By now, he's the all-time three-point champion. He's had a Hall of Fame career, and it's the same exact process, the same fundamentals every single day. And I always remember like all that happened in the 20 years in between that, and yet, here he was playing a game 5 or a game 6 of a playoff series, and that's how he started it off. And so I think when Trae talks about that's just not something you're going to do as a young player. It's the same things that the greatest shooters in the history of the league do, and it's basic, it's simple, and it works.
No, for sure. No, I think that's something that's very, very, very helpful. And I mean, you talked about Ray. I remember him telling me his story, the same story. I mean, that you kind of just explained about his routine and how he was there hours and hours before games. And I think it all starts at a young age, like when you just build that love for the game and the work ethic, and it all comes back and pays off in the end. And that's how Ray was, and he worked extremely hard, and it all paid off for him.
Questions for Trae. Do you want a 4-point line?
Of course. It would help me. We would get a lot more 4-point plays.
5, shoot.
Yeah, and then if I get fouled on the 4-point line, it's an and one.
Yo.
So we're gonna get 5 points in possession. We may that would help us for sure. I'm down to get a 4-point line for sure.
That's great. Hey, Chineys, it's one thing to have a professional basketball career, to be at the top of your craft. How did it end up that not only do you play in the WNBA and that year-round commitment it takes to play at that level, but also every time somebody turns their TV on during basketball season or during free agency, they see you on ESPN breaking down the NBA game. How did that all come about for you?
Well, I would say, honestly, I've been really, really fortunate. But, a lot of people see my careers and they think, wow, she's got it good. Well, it wasn't so good how I got there. I had 2 major injuries, right knee microfracture surgery after my rookie year. I was at Stanford, 3-year All-American, get drafted number 1 to Connecticut. The coolest part about my draft is that, in the WNBA, we move sites. So the draft was held at Mohegan Sun Arena. So I got drafted number 1 alongside my big sis who got drafted number 1 2 years earlier in the arena that I would be playing. So it was nuts. All the fans were there. And so I had an amazing rookie year, all-star, all that type of stuff. But for those who don't know, we also play overseas. Just because at that point, overseas pays more. We're changing that dynamic just because we got a new CBA, which is a new agreement with our league that has really they're investing in women now more than ever before. But I went and played in Italy. And even before, I went and played in China. And because I was playing, we've been playing since Trae since he was 4, myself since I was 10, no breaks. AAU into high school into college into pros, no breaks. And so for me, my body just couldn't sustain it. And so I got injured. And so when I was injured, I still would be around my team in Connecticut. And fortunately, ESPN is also in Connecticut. So during the time when I really, a lot of athletes are now experiencing what it's like to not have sports. And I think Trae was so right when it's basketball is not who I am, it's what I do, right? So I had those processes in my head, those questions in my head, whoa, if sports is taken away from me, who am I? And I started realizing, hey, I've just got to say yes to opportunities. Being in sports, you meet a lot of cool people. They could be friends. You never know who those friends could be. You meet coaches. Those coaches could be the ones that help you through tough times, So I was all right, sports has given me a great platform. Let me just say yes to opportunities. My first thing I said yes to, I was working with the Pac-12 networks. They sent me to the Pac-12 tournament, and my first assignment was to interview mascots. Y'all know mascots don't talk. So I had a mic, and I was like, and I didn't connect the dots until I like got there, and it was like on a train. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I was like, you know what, just have fun. So I started having fun, and eventually I got the opportunity because I was in Connecticut rehabbing, like learning how to walk again, run, jog, hoop, all that type of stuff. In the toughest times when I was trying to get back to the game, that's when this biggest blessing actually happened. So ESPN said, hey, Chineys, it's the summertime. Our boy Woj, who never takes a break, but the Wojs of the world, they're going to take 2 weeks off of studio. We need some new voices to come in. And so I was like, all right, let me try. Now, this is where I think things in like sports and real life are one and the same in mentality, because I knew that, by nature at the time I was like 25. I'm a Black woman, woman of color, like these things, these opportunities matter. You can't go up there and take it for granted because you want other people to have those same opportunities. They rarely give, women's basketball players the opportunities to speak on NFL and MLB and just big issues. So I remember my first thing was His and Hers, which was a show at the time, and then First Take, which I think most people know. And so I went on First Take and I studied for 2 weeks, and I hit up all my homies. I was like, okay, my friends at Stanford football, because at the time Stanford football was amazing. I was like, all right, you tell me what I need to know about the Cowboys. And I remember my friend said, Chiney, as long as you say Jerry Jones pays people that respect the star, say anything, just say that line. So I went on there, I said that line. Shoot, everyone on Twitter was like, she knows her football and all that type of stuff. So it was just funny. So I like prepared for 2 weeks, went on there for 2 hours, and I tell people it was like it was a sink or swim moment. And I didn't do either. I just sort of was myself, but I was learning the game and treading water kind of. And so by saying yes to that opportunity, but also coming prepared, they asked me to come back again and again. And it manifested into working for SportsCenter as an NBA analyst, not just covering the women's basketball. Like, to me, that was really cool. But it all came from the toughest of times, because I was injured not once. I was injured once and then went back overseas, ball is life. I was like, all right, this was fun. And then I got injured again. And so that just reminded me that you really have to seize the day and seize the moment and build relationships and be grateful for even the opportunity to just play a game. Because by playing a game, or it could be like playing an instrument or doing your homework, you never know where that path can take you when you're passionate about it. So I'm one of the lucky ones. But I think now we're building a world where there's going to be more of us, just because they're realizing different voices matter. And so that's the fun part about it all.
Are you prepared for the season if it continues?
For me, it's right now. I'm gonna say I'm not necessarily prepared, because I'm prepared because I haven't ran, I haven't played, I haven't really touched the ball or been able to. But one thing I will say is I will be prepared, and that's something that I know for a fact. I think if we end up coming back, there's going to be some time, a time period where we get kind of like a mini training camp kind of started, where we can get back in shape, play, and just kind of get back into a game flow. So if I'm not prepared right now, I will be if it returns.
Thanks so much. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you guys back on the court soon.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.